There is nothing more important when it comes to Google Ads than proper budget distribution. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why we have been able to scale brands like these to over $900,000 in monthly revenue at an 8x ROAS just from Google Ads alone. Or maybe brands like these fashion brands spending about $150,000 a month to generate back almost $1 million in revenue. Or even brands like these where on the lower end they're spending $30,000 to $40,000 a month on Google to generate a 9x ROAS. Budget distribution is the hidden key to achieve scale like this. And in this video, I'm going to give you the exact strategy on how to figure out how much you should actually be spending when it comes to Google Ads and the right approach to proper budget allocation. But the first thing you need to understand is that budget distribution is purely dependent on your business type. One business type is very different from another. So budget distribution is more of a dynamic approach rather than a one-size-fits-all approach. This is where so many brands, even those I speak with to this day under my agency, Your Marketing, get wrong. They don't understand some budget that's maybe $500 a day or $1,000 a day in ad spend for another brand might not be the right amount for their brand. And the way to figure out what the proper daily budget, what the proper monthly, and even yearly budget should be for your brand with Google is that your budget should be dependent on 4 different things. Number 1, the average order value of your products. Number 2, the monthly revenue goal you're trying to achieve. Number 3, the return on ad spend or the target cost per acquisition goal. And fourth and final one, the ad spend as a total percentage of the total revenue. We're gonna go over all 4 of these in detail, but let's start with the first, average order value. Now, depending on what your level of products are, what the product prices are, etc., I naturally recommend brands to have a daily budget of a minimum of 2 times to 5 times their average order values. What this means is if your average order value is $100, you should have a minimum daily budget of $200 to $500. This basically leaves Google enough room to not only test all of your products properly, but to also get that perfect cost per acquisition for your brand and for its needs. Because the truth is, the lower your average order value is, the higher your daily budget should be. And the higher your average order values, you can generally get away with a 2 times multiple or a 3 times multiple for your daily budgets. This is because if you sell a product for $100, this means you have a $50 gross margin with that product. And if you're running a daily budget of $200 a day and your cost per acquisition is $50, that means you're only gonna get 4 sales a day. When you increase that to maybe $500, now you have the ability to get up to 10 sales a day or more. So the benefit is the higher your daily budget is, the more you can spend and the more you can sell. But also number 2, this trains your algorithm at a much faster rate. This is the benefit of having a daily budget of 2 times to 5 times your average order value. Now, if your average order value is $1,000 a day, $5,000 a day, etc., obviously you can get away with a little bit of a lower budget. In some situations, you can even get away with half of the budget of your average order value. So if your AOV is $1,000, you don't feel comfortable spending $2,000 or more, then your budget should be about $500 minimum. If your AOV is $1,000, your daily budget is $50 a day, obviously you're not gonna get many sales for a number of days. This is gonna, first of all, lower the impact Google Ads has on your business. But number 2, it's gonna make it seem in the short term like Google Ads is just not working for your brand, causing your strategies to simply stop working as a result, or for you to personally just give up on Google. So this is why AOV is so crucial. But that's not the only thing you need to be looking at. Second thing is the monthly revenue goal. Let's say, for example, if you want to hit the monthly revenue goal of $50,000 per month just from Google Ads alone, and an average ROAS of 3x is needed at this level. Well, in that situation, you need to be basically making $1,500 a day minimum to hit this goal, because otherwise you're not going to be able to hit anywhere close to this $50,000 revenue amount. And if it's at a 3x ROAS, in order to hit that $1,500 in sales, you need to only be spending $500 a day. So sometimes it works to work essentially backwards from your revenue goals. In this situation, we didn't really take AOV into account. However, with that, you can set the budget as needed. But average monthly revenue should be also something you're looking at, especially if you have certain goals to hit at the end of the month. Third is your ROAS goals or your CPA goals. Essentially, if your target cost per acquisition is $50 and you need to basically get a certain level of revenue goal and you need to take into account your average order value, well, if your target cost per acquisition is $50, you should be spending up to 2 times to 5 times that number as well. In this case, maybe $100 to maybe even $250 a day. These are ideal numbers, and then you mold this daily budget based on the monthly revenue you want to hit and the average order value. But the fourth thing which you should take into account when deciding daily budgets is what you want the ad spend as a percentage of your total revenue. So ideally, with the businesses that we work with under my agency, which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $1 million a year, you need extra help scaling your brand to the next level, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com, schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen. But ideally, the brands we work with want to be spending between 10% to 40% of their entire revenue amount on ads. So this means if you do about $100,000 a month in revenue, you want to be spending about $10,000 or maybe $40,000 max on ads. Now, this number gives you the ideal approach point when it comes to how much you should be distributing towards Google versus the other ad platforms you have running like Facebook, TikTok, etc. But basically, you want to be working backwards again. The best approach is to start from the top and then work all the way down. So at the top, you know that you want to be spending out of this maybe $10,000, only about $3,000 on Facebook and then $7,000 on Google Ads. Well, now you have that $7,000 number in mind, and then you want to take into account how much you want to be making back from the $7,000 in ad spend you're doing. So it's really a matter of just a dynamic approach, top of the level approach, which then basically helps you decide what the daily budget should be. And then from there, once you start getting results back, of course, you wanted to keep it dynamic as much as possible, increase if results are good, decrease if results are bad. It's that simple. But if you run a brand doing $1 million a year or more in revenue, you want to scale with Google Ads, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com, schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen.